A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Jadabdin.
And I'm Thiruni Karnaratna. Here are tonight's top stories. The United States attacks one of Iran's largest bridges. Security Council discussion on the plan to reopen the Strait of Hormuz postponed. Pakistan hikes fuel prices once again. No international power alignments, open to partnerships, says Minister Bimal in Russia. Changes to water supply restriction schedule in several areas of the Colombo district. Sajid attended the launch of the book revealing the Easter attack mastermind. Asked the secretary and bodyguards. Gamampila challenges Nalin Bandar.
It has been 35 days since the start of the Iran-Israel war. United States President Donald Trump has warned that Washington hasn't even started destroying what's left in Iran, threatening a potential expansion of attacks on the country's infrastructure, which would violate international law. Posting on social media late on Thursday, Trump threatened to attack bridges next, then electric power plants, adding that Iran's leadership knows what has to be done and has to be done fast. What is happening in the Middle East?
Last night, US President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that the United States had destroyed Iran's largest bridge. He added that Iran should reach an agreement with the US without further delay. According to foreign media, the bridge known as B1 was part of a highway linking Karaj city to Tehran, stretching 1,050 meters and supported by 136-meter high pillars. It is the tallest bridge in the Middle East. Reports indicate it was in its final stages of construction and was set to open soon. Citing Iranian state media, Al Jazeera reported that the US military carried out strikes on the bridge in two separate attacks within a few hours. After the first strike, rescue personnel working around the bridge were reportedly hit in the second strike, causing casualties. International analysts have warned that targeting civilian infrastructure in this manner could constitute a war crime. The US, however, claims Iran was using the bridge to transport materials for drone production.
Iran's response to the strike.
Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi condemned the targeting of civilian infrastructure. In a statement posted on X, he said, quote-unquote, striking civilian structures, including unfinished bridges, will not compel Iranians to surrender, adding that such attacks reflect the defeat and moral collapse of an enemy in disarray. Former Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif urged the country to declare victory and negotiate a deal that ends this conflict and prevents the next one, in a major article published by the US-based magazine Foreign Affairs. Zarif, who led Iran's nuclear negotiations with the US and other nations for several years, outlined what he described as a blueprint for ending hostilities with the US and Israel on terms favorable to Tehran. Iran's Press TV shared a clip of army spokesperson Ibrahim Zolfagari warning that continued US threats against Iranian power plants would prompt Tehran to target regional energy infrastructure as well as information and telecommunications companies with American shareholders. Iranian military officials have repeatedly threatened to strike major technology firms operating in the Middle East, signaling a potential escalation in the region.
Trump's warning.
US President Donald Trump has issued a fresh warning on Truth Social, signaling that the United States has not yet begun its full campaign against Iran's remaining infrastructure. In his message, Trump wrote that the US military, quote-unquote, hasn't even started destroying what's left in Iran, and specified that future strikes would focus next on bridges and then on electric power plants. He added that Iranian leaders know what has to be done fast if they want to prevent further attacks.
Macron calls for serious approach to Iran conflict.
French President Emmanuel Macron has stressed that the situation in Iran requires a serious and consistent approach in an apparent critic of US President Donald Trump's seemingly contradictory remarks on the conflict.
Je pense qu'on a tous besoin de stabilité, de calme, de retour à la paix. Et ça n'est pas un spectacle. On parle de paix, de guerre, on parle de la vie de femmes et d'hommes, on parle de la situation de nos pays, des risques qu'il y a sur nos pays, et on parle de la situation économique de nos pays, d'ailleurs qu'il s'agisse des États-Unis d'Amérique ou de nous Européens ou ici d'Asiatiques. Tout le monde paye les conséquences. Donc il faut être sérieux. Quand on veut être sérieux, on ne dit pas chaque jour le contraire de ce qu'on a dit la veille. Et il ne faut peut-être pas parler tous les jours. Il faut juste faire calmer les choses et bâtir une paix durable.
Pentagon confirms immediate retirement of Army Chief.
Chief Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell announced on social media that General Randy George will be retiring from his position as the 41st Chief of Staff of the Army, effective immediately. The Army Chief typically serves a 4-year term. General George, a career military officer and a graduate of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, was nominated to the role in 2023 by former President Joe Biden. He previously served as an infantry officer during the Gulf War and in more recent conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan. The exact reason for his sudden departure has not been officially disclosed. According to US media reports, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has also dismissed 2 other senior military officials. These include General David Horton, head of the Army's Transformation and Training Command, and Major General William Green Jr., Chief of the Army Chaplain Corps.
Pam Bondi removed from US Attorney role.
Former U.S. Attorney Pam Bondi has been removed from her position by Donald Trump. In a post on Truth Social, Trump thanked Bondi for her service and indicated that she is likely to transition into the private sector. However, he did not provide a reason for her sudden removal. Bondi, who is 60, previously served for 18 years as a prosecutor before becoming the first female Attorney General of Florida in 2011. She later took up the role of U.S. Attorney under Trump in February last year. Meanwhile, Todd Blanche, who has served as one of Trump's personal lawyers and represented him in several high-profile legal cases, has been appointed as Acting Attorney General.
Situation in the Strait of Hormuz.
According to Lloyd's List, 3 vessels from Oman have exited Iranian waters and are currently sailing through the Strait of Hormuz, signaling a possible breakthrough after weeks of disruption. At the same time, Iran is reportedly in talks with Oman to jointly manage the strategic waterway. Iran's state-run IRNA news agency said discussions are underway to draft a formal protocol governing passage through the strait. The Strait of Hormuz, bordered by Iran and Oman, is a critical global energy corridor, with around 1/5 of the world's oil and gas passing through it during peacetime. However, since the outbreak of the US-Israel conflict with Iran on the 28th of February, Tehran has effectively restricted access for most vessels, allowing passage only for ships from select countries that have negotiated agreements. Around 40 countries held talks on Thursday on joint action to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, with the UK accusing Iran of holding the global economy hostage. British Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper said Iran's blockade was hitting households and business worldwide as she led the virtual meeting involving France, Germany, Canada, the UAE and India. The discussions followed remarks by Donald Trump, who said securing the waterway should be the responsibility of countries that rely on it. While no formal agreement was reached, officials said there was broad consensus that Iran must not impose transit fees and that the route should remain open to all. Military planners are set to meet next week to consider options, including mine-clearing operations and protection for commercial shipping. Amidst the escalating conflicts in the Middle East, instability in the global energy market continues to intensify. Foreign media outlets report that global energy prices are currently fluctuating by the moment. Yesterday afternoon, the price of a barrel of crude oil in the US market was $107.99, but by this afternoon, it was recorded at $115.50. Meanwhile, a barrel in the British market was recorded at $109 this afternoon. These rapidly changing prices and disruptions to the supply chain have pushed a large number of countries worldwide toward an energy crisis. Fuel queues persist in India, and the price disparity between different states has come under serious scrutiny. In New Delhi, petrol price is recorded at 94 Indian rupees and 77 cents. Diesel price is 87 Indian rupees and 67 cents. In Mumbai, the petrol price is 103 Indian rupees and 54 cents. Due to limited fuel supplies, long queues are visible near filling stations in major cities, including Dhaka. Driven by global market shifts, the price of aviation fuel in Bangladesh has skyrocketed by 79% within this month alone. Pakistan has implemented the highest fuel price hike in its history, the second increase within a single month. Diesel increased by 54.9%, making the new price 520 Pakistan rupees and 35 cents. Petrol increased by 42.7%. New price is 458 Pakistan rupees and 40 cents.
On to news here at home. Sri Lankan and Russian representatives have focused on further enhancing cooperation in the fields of energy, petroleum, coal and fertilizer. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that these matters were discussed during the 11th round of bilateral political consultations between Sri Lanka and Russia.
The bilateral political consultation round was co-chaired by Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko and the Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Honorary. The discussions focused on strengthening cooperation across several key sectors: tourism and education, defense and technical cooperation, trade and investment, and sports and culture. Recalling the strong partnership between the two nations, both parties reaffirmed their commitment to cooperating on matters of mutual interest within multilateral forums. As next year marks the 70th anniversary of Sri Lanka-Russia diplomatic relations, both sides agreed to organize a series of planned activities, including high-level visits, to commemorate the milestone. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko also met with Foreign Minister Vishdaherat yesterday. The Deputy Minister stated that steps would be taken to expedite oil supplies from Russia. He emphasized that Russia remains ready to support Sri Lanka at all times. Reminding that Sri Lanka is a very old friend of Russia, he guaranteed that work would continue to further strengthen this long-standing friendship.
Minister of Transport, Highways and Urban Development Bimal Ratnayake is representing Sri Lanka at the International Transport and Supply Session in St. Petersburg, Russia. During the discussions, Minister Ratnayake highlighted the country's strategic significance and shared insights on attracting foreign investment.
So, coming from a country in Indian Ocean, we used to, throughout the history, Sri Lanka is referred as the Pearl of Indian Ocean, because naturally also we are a connecting point. So as Sri Lanka throughout the 2-3 millennia, we have been a connecting point, east to west, to Russia, to China, to Europe, Africa. So, and we were in the maritime Silk Route some thousands of years ago. So for us, connectivity is it's our DNA. So of course, when we talk about Russia and Sri Lanka, yes, it's far away through the land, but we have been operating very much closely in the aviation field of aviation, and Sri Lanka is ready to connect more sea routes with especially with China and this Eurasian framework. Of course, we think that especially in sea routes and aviation routes, we can definitely connect with this Eurasian framework without any delay. Of course, we have been doing this for years also, and we request from the Russian Transport Ministry to continue the flights throughout the year to Sri Lanka, because there's a big potential. And one main thing I would like to mention, that Sri Lanka as a hub of connectivity in various means, I would like to mention geography only doesn't give the opportunity for to become a transport hub. Especially if we really want to become a true transport hub, we think that other companies or other countries, they will not only look on the cranes in Colombo port or other things. I think they expect political stability, economic stability, and social stability. I think I'm speaking on behalf of my people and my government. We can assure we have established very peaceful and very stabilized economy and society in Sri Lanka. On the other hand, when this very turbulent world because of this US war in Iran and all these things, we think that to be a hub, we cannot be a battleground for geopolitics. We must be point of convergence. So Sri Lanka has been consistently throughout its history, especially now even, we have been maintaining friendly relations with all the countries. We are not in camps. So we are ready to receive we are ready to work, we are ready to receive all the friendly nations of the world. We are ready to work with them. I think in conclusion, it's not only the geography. Okay, geography gave us the recognition, but as an island nation, but the people of Sri Lanka, we have created Sri Lanka as a stable economy, society, and harmony among the communities, as well as we are working closely with all the major and other powers of the world, including China or India or Russia and Europe. So I think that it makes you a real connectivity or real hub. So this is what I want to insist, Excellency, that reiterating that we are ready to work with this Eurasian framework, and I think we can start from this aviation and maritime sector, and we will invest on behalf of Sri Lankan government $8 to $10 billion within next 3 years for transport infrastructure. We will start 2 new ports, and we are going to invite the private companies of international companies to come and operate in one of our main airport. So we are open to work with the friendly nations who respect sovereignty, who recognize the reputation of other countries. So this is what I just want to reiterate. So I think this Eurasian framework will be not only for Russia, not only for big countries in Eurasian continent. Countries like Sri Lanka also will get a lot of benefits from this Eurasian framework of transportation and everything.
The World Bank Group and the government of Sri Lanka launched a new 5-year country partnership framework to support Sri Lanka's continued recovery, to help achieve its 7% medium-term economic growth target and support job creation.
The partnership will mobilize significant resources from the World Bank Group, including more than $1 billion in direct and mobilized investment over 5 years by the International Finance Corporation, and up to $1 billion in low-interest financing over the next 3 years from the World Bank. It will deploy the full range of WPG instruments, financing, guarantees, advisory services and private capital mobilization. The partnership focuses on 4 key areas: making it easier to do business, simplifying government regulations, modernizing trade processes and bringing more government services online will make Sri Lanka a more attractive place to do business and invest. These reforms will support Sri Lanka's ambition to double annual export earnings to $36 billion by 2030. Stronger infrastructure that benefits everyone. Investments will expand the capacity of the Port of Colombo and attract private operators to help it remain one of Asia's leading maritime hubs. In the energy sector, a phased program will help Sri Lanka generate 70% of its electricity from renewable sources by 2030, adding 1 gigawatt of new clean power. This aims to lower electricity bills for households and businesses, which are currently among the highest in South Asia. More and better jobs in tourism and agriculture. Recognizing that tourism and agriculture are two of Sri Lanka's greatest assets and offer strong potential to create jobs across the island, the partnership will support Sri Lanka's tourism strategic plan from 2026 to 2030, as well as connect farmers to new technologies, markets and financing. The northern and eastern provinces with remarkable natural and cultural endowments, yet representing less than 10% of the national economy, will receive dedicated investment and advisory support, preparing for future shocks. Following Cyclone Detwa in November 2025, which caused an estimated $4.1 billion in damages and affected 2.2 million people, the partnership will fund stronger early warning systems and resilient infrastructure to help communities recover faster from future crises. According to the World Bank Group, implementation begins immediately.
The National Water Supply and Drainage Board has announced that no water cuts will be implemented from the 11th to the 14th April, ensuring an uninterrupted supply during the upcoming festive season. The board further stated that while a 24-hour water cut was initially planned for Padukka, Homagama, Palanwatta and Pannipiti until the 10th of April, measures have been taken to reduce the duration of these interruptions to 18 hours.
An 18-hour water cut was implemented in Padukka yesterday, with Homagama scheduled for today, followed by Palanwatta tomorrow and Pannipiti the day after. The chairman noted that efforts are underway to further minimize this 18-hour window as much as possible. The implementation of this scheduled supply across various parts of the Colombo district was prompted by the rapid depletion of water levels at the Kalatuava reservoir. Furthermore, the Water Board indicated that the water supply to Battaramulla, Pamankada, Vallavatta and Navala will be suspended for 3 hours from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. on alternate days.
As of today, we have introduced a slight limitation on the quantity of water drawn from the Labugama and Kalatuava reservoirs for the Colombo district, decreasing the daily output by roughly 15,000 cubic meters. This decision was primarily driven by the fact that maintaining our previous rate of consumption would leave us with only a 20-day supply of water. Since the Department of Meteorology does not expect any substantial rainfall during the coming 2 to 3 weeks, we are forced to proactively restrict the volume of water extracted from these two sources.
විශාල වර්ෂාපතනයක් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක නිසා අපි යම් සීමා කිරීමකට ලක් කරනවා ලබුගම සහ කල්ටුවාවෙන් ලබා ගන්න ජල ප්‍රමාණය.
Former Minister Uday Gammampila said that opposition leader Sajith Premadasa attended the launch of his book, which exposes the mastermind behind the Easter attacks. He made this comment in response to Samang Balawege MP Nalin Bandara's claim that the visuals of Sajith Premadasa at this event were AI generated. Last Tuesday, Uday Gammampila launched his book claiming that Saharan Hashim was the mastermind behind the Easter attacks. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa, who holds a completely different view on the mastermind and the attacks, faced heavy criticism for attending the event. This was the response given by MP Nalin Bandara at a media briefing held yesterday.
විපක්ෂ නායකතුමා මේ ගම්මන්පිලගේ පොතේ දක්වන්න එකට යනවා. දැන් මේ රෙදියෙන් දැන් යන්න බෑනේ. එහෙම ගියානේ.
එතුමාෙන් තමයි 100 මං හිතන්නේ එතුමා නෙමෙයි ගියේ. මට පන්නේ AI වලින් එතුමාව දාලා දුකේද. එතුමාට යන්න බෑ දැන්ට.
දැන් ඔබතුමාට එතුමා ගියේ නෑ කියලාද?
මං විශ්වාස කරන්නේ නැහැ එතුමා ගියා කියලා. ඒක වෙන්න බෑනේ. එතුමා කොහොමද උතන්ට එන්නේ?
This is the response given by Uday Gammampila to MP Nalin Bandara at a media briefing held today. If my friend MP Nalin Bandara has any doubts about whether Sajith Premadasa attended, let me clarify. Sajith Premadasa did not come alone. His close advisor, Lakshman Fonseca, accompanied him. Security had arrived first, more than an hour before his arrival. If anyone has doubts, it is reasonable to ask his coordinating secretaries, security personnel and advisors whether he actually attended. If anyone claims that it was AI generated, that suspicion is understandable, because these days, whenever something happens, people often say, it wasn't me, it was AI. However, if there is any doubt, it can be clarified by the opposition leader himself or by his advisors, secretaries and security personnel. Meanwhile, Samang Balawege parliamentarian Jagat Vithana stated today that the leader of the opposition did not attend the launch of Gammampila's book.
දැන් දෙගම පිළ මහත්තයා මේ පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය සම්බන්ධයෙන් පොතක් එළි දැක්වට පස්සේ විපක්ෂ නායකතුමාත් එතනට සම්බන්ධ වුණාද මොකද වුනේ දැන් මේකේ මේ ආතලාත්මක ප්‍රශ්න මාලාවක් තමයි දැන් එතනින් පස්සේ මේ තියෙන්නේ
නෑ විපක්ෂ නායකවරයා විතරයි එතනට සහභාගී නොවුනේ
ඒකවල දැන් අපි දකිනවා
ඒ ඉතින් ඒ අය නිර්මාණ වුණා ඉතින් ඒවා මේ දවස්වල හරි සුලභයිනේ ඒ නිසා විපක්ෂ නායකවරයා එතනට සහභාගී වුණේ නෑ මේක මම දැක්කා ඒක වක්කීමෙන් කියනවා
ඒ අය නිර්මාණය කියලා පුතුමා කියන්නේ
අනිවාර්යයෙන්
What is MP Jagat Vithana saying? The whole country witnessed opposition leader Sajid Premadasa alongside several party members attend the event where Uday Gamampila revealed the mastermind behind the Easter attacks. One thing is undeniable. There is a clear wave of dissatisfaction brewing within the party itself over the opposition leader's participation, an action that directly contradicts their own stated policies. In this context, one has to ask, what exactly is MP Jagat Vithana trying to justify or explain? And the bigger question looms, is this really how they view the people of this country? From the looks of it, they might not even grasp what the public actually thinks of them. Meanwhile, SJB MP of the Trincomalee district Imran Mahroof has expressed his disappointment over Sajid Premadasa's participation in the launch of Uday Gamampila's book. Issuing a statement, he said that he was deeply shocked by his party leader's presence at the event. Mahroof also stated that, as a public representative of the community directly affected by the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks, neither his supporters nor the public would accept this action.
Protect our cricket.
Fraud, corruption, mismanagement, transparency and efficiency of Sri Lanka cricket has been under the spotlight over the past few months. Now, this situation in Sri Lanka cricket came under the spotlight against a backdrop where Sri Lanka cricket has been in decline almost over the past decade, with the national cricket team not being able to make it even to the semi-finals of an ICC organized tournament during the last decade. Now, when one looks at the issues that has plagued Sri Lanka cricket, it's common knowledge that there is a crony capitalist clique that is at the helm of Sri Lanka cricket. Now, they function at Sri Lanka cricket as if the money at Sri Lanka cricket and all the decisions and the management of Sri Lanka cricket is their own. They are the ones who've developed it and they are entitled to do whatever they please. But what this crony capitalist clique forgets is that Sri Lanka cricket was not built on their shoulders. Sri Lanka cricket was built on the shoulders of those who shed their blood, sweat and tears at the time when Sri Lanka cricket wasn't this rich. They are the ones who built Sri Lanka cricket to an organization with international acclaim. But what has happened now is sad, to say the very least, and it is an insult to all of those players, those administrators and well-wishers of Sri Lanka cricket who strived hard to build Sri Lanka cricket to what it is today.
Shalan, what you said, I believe, reflects with many Sri Lankans who are watching this today, because the players you spoke about who brought glory to our motherland through their performances did not come from privilege. They earned every right to be on that pitch representing their country, which is why cricket's revenue cannot be arbitrarily used at the whims of a few. Shalan, it's been 25 days since the cabinet media spokesperson spoke optimistically about Sri Lanka cricket. The Minister of Sports, it has been 24 days since the Minister of Sports mentioned discussions with the ICC.
Well, of course, there is, as I said before, there is renewed enthusiasm amongst Sri Lankan cricket fans to see some change at Sri Lanka cricket and in turn help Sri Lanka win matches, win tournaments and bring Sri Lanka cricket to its former glory. But the big question is, where is the national plan for Sri Lanka cricket? Where is the plan to bring the Sri Lankan cricket team to as the top cricket playing nation in all formats of the game? Where is the plan to make Sri Lanka the cricketing hub of Asia. Now, while all of these, or all steps to be taken to achieve these goals have been sidelined, we reported to you on how individuals in their late 30s and early 40s were loved to play certain club cricket matches. One match in particular, one might wonder why, but when we see what happened thereafter, it is quite clear and evident that these individuals, or this individual in this certain incident, had played that one match to fulfill the requirement of having played first-class cricket just for the purpose of entering Sri Lanka cricket and the top brass thereof. So we have seen several attempts being made to clear the swamp, if you will, at Sri Lanka cricket. We've seen several steps being taken to bring some sort of reform to Sri Lanka cricket, but however, one of the best examples being the Chittasari Committee report. None of these efforts for reform were allowed to see the light of day, and it's beyond obvious as to who was behind blocking all of these efforts to reform Sri Lanka cricket.
Shalan, as the game of cricket, the beloved game of cricket loved by millions upon millions of Sri Lankans, continues to spiral towards collapse, youth movements have stepped forward and they have taken matters to their own hands to clean house or to at least pressure the relevant authorities to ensure that they take necessary action against the reforming of Sri Lanka cricket, to bring Sri Lanka cricket back to where it belongs. And now, the latest development is players themselves have to move court to seek justice for the injustices that they are facing.
Well, of course, Jamal, we have reported on that as well during the past few days. At the end of the day, when we look at some of the most latest news coming out of the situation at Sri Lanka cricket, we can see very well-known, very talented coaches like Avishka Gunawardena resigning in frustration, mind you, and the facts are there. It's clear to see. And what is Sri Lanka cricket doing in response to the resignation amidst frustration from these talented coaches and, of course, with the situation at Sri Lanka cricket at the moment? They are recruiting people with credentials that are not as impressive to fill those seats.
Very well said. Appointments that raise more questions than confidence. 8 coaches hired over the past 2 years. Who is making these decisions? Where are the qualified voices within Sri Lanka cricket? Where are the committees appointed to ensure that prudent decisions and prudent appointments are made to ensure the well-being, development and progress of Sri Lanka cricket? Who is in fact running Sri Lanka cricket? And at what cost?
A discussion regarding the provision of state sponsorship for the Walk for Peace, which is scheduled to commence on the 21st April, took place at the Presidential Secretariat. The discussion was presided over by Dr. Venerable Malpitiye Wimalakirti Thero.
A group including the Secretary to the President, Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumar Nayanka, participated in the discussion. Detailed deliberations were held regarding the organizational matters of this peace walk, which is to be held with the contribution of the Clean Sri Lanka Secretariat, including the preparation of arms and refreshments for the participating monks, sanitary facilities and the provision of security. 12 monks led by Venerable Panyakara Thera, who spearheaded the peace walk in America, are scheduled to arrive in the country on the 21st of April. A group led by Mahasangha will be engaged in this peace walk for 7 days, from the 22nd to the 28th of April. The activities of the peace walk will commence on the 21st of April after seeking blessings at the historic Jai Shri Mahabodhi in Anuradhapura. A sapling of the Shri Mahabodhi obtained through the blessings of the Mahasangha, led by the Atamasthana-adhipati, is also scheduled to be carried during this march. Furthermore, the message of peace will be delivered to the people of the Anuradhapura district following special religious observances held at the historic Ruan Valley Mahasaya. Following a Sangika Dana on the morning of the 22nd of April, The peace walk will recommence from Dambulla. It is scheduled to reach Independence Square on the 28th of April, travelling through Naula, Matale, Kandy, Kaduganawa, Kegol, Tholangamur, Kajugama, Yakala, Mahara and Kalania. To mark the conclusion of the peace walk, President Anurakkumar Dissanayake will diplomatically hand over the Sri Mahabodhi sapling carried in the march to the Mahasangha who arrived from America.
The Canterbury Christ Church University in England has honoured the Most Venerable Dr. Kirinde Assajithero, the chief incumbent of the Hunupitiya Gangarame Temple in Colombo, with a prestigious award. The university presented the prelate with a Lifetime Achievement Honour Award in recognition of his service. The Canterbury Christ Church University in England has conferred a Lifetime Achievement Honorary Award upon Venerable Dr. Kirinde Assajithero, the chief incumbent of the Hunupitiya Gangarame Temple and the chief Sanghanayaka of the Western Province, representing the Asgiri chapter of the Siam sect. The award was presented in recognition of the prelate's extensive social mission.
I stand before you today with deep humility and sincere gratitude. It is a great honor to receive this recognition from Canterbury Christ Church University in a country respected around the world for it is excellent in education, research and intellectual leadership. I also wish to express my heartfelt appreciation to the United Kingdom for this meaningful honor. As someone whose academic journey was shaped in India, where I completed my doctoral studies, I have always valued the transformative power of education. The recognition I received from KIIT University in Odisha was deeply significant to me. Today, to be honored once again in the United Kingdom adds a new and meaningful chapter to my life's journey. On that, I accept with responsibility and dedication. Education is not merely the acquisition of knowledge. It is the cultivation of wisdom, character, and compassion. Knowledge can inform us, but education, in its truest sense, transforms us. It shapes individuals who can think critically, act ethically, and serve humanity with purpose. Modern education must go hand in hand with ethical and spiritual values. Only then can we build a world that is not only advanced but also compassionate and just. I am also pleased to note the growing academic collaboration between the United Kingdom and Sri Lanka. Initiatives to establish educational partnership and hubs we will only strengthen bilateral relations, but also create opportunities for knowledge, exchange and global progress. This recognition I receive today does not belong to me alone. It belongs to my teachers, my fellow monks, my colleagues and the many communities we serve. It belongs to every student who seeks knowledge, every teacher who shares it, and every individual who believes in the power of education to change lives. Education is the light that removes ignorance, but it is compassion that gives that light meaning. If we can combine knowledge with kindness and wisdom with service, we can create a better and more peaceful world for all.
In making this conferment, the university took into account his unparalleled dedication and contribution to religious and social services, both within Sri Lanka and at the international level.
News First with the people.
The 4 astronauts on the Artemis II mission have now left the Earth's orbit after the Orion spacecraft fired its main engine for a final push towards the moon.
Good afternoon from the Space Coast of Florida, where 4 astronauts are about to suit up for NASA's boldest test flight in a generation.
NASA's Dr. Laurie Clay said that the 5-minute and 55-second engine burn, known as the translunar injection, went flawlessly.
The crew of Artemis II.
Artemis II is now on a looping path that will carry the crew around the far side of the moon and back again. It is the first time since 1972 that humans have travelled outside of the Earth's orbit. After spending roughly a day in a stretched-out high Earth orbit, Orion's engines, navigation and life support systems were checked while the capsule looped our planet. At last, the final approval was given, and the engine burn could begin, the mission's last big move towards the moon. The TLI propelled the spacecraft on a journey that is expected to carry the crew farther from Earth than anyone has been before, more than 4,700 miles beyond the moon, before gravity swings them back. NASA estimates that this could edge past the record set by Apollo 13 in 1970, depending on the fine details of the timing and trajectory. The crew also spoke to the media in the first public video conference with the crew since the launch.
What has been most surprising to you about this so far?
Well, I think probably one of the things that surprised all of us is when those solid rocket boosters actually lit and we left the pad. It was just a moment of disbelief, and yeah, the fact that we launched, it just totally takes you by surprise, even though you're expecting it, at least for me anyway. And I just had a huge smile across my face.
I've heard it's the best sleep up in space. Do you feel the weight of history knowing that you're going to be traveling farther than any other human?
You know, it's a remarkable thing. You would think it would be weighty, but we just feel like we're lifted up by the team that supports us, and you just sort of execute the plan. A lot of people telling us how to work this and manage this vehicle, and a lot of great training, and you just kind of go step by step, which I think is pretty remarkable what this team can do, and it really highlights their excellence.
And I think I just want to add, we just got done our translunar injection burn, and it was pretty tense moments there. For a second, and when we got done that burn, we just kind of looked at each other as a crew. We have been to the moon before in 1968 through 1972. It's been a long time since we've been back. And I got to tell you, there is nothing normal about this. Sending 4 humans 250,000 miles away is a Herculean effort. And we are now just realizing the gravity of that.
Yeah, I mean, it really is unbelievable to us. We watched this thing. It was just this flawless launch, and it was unbelievable to watch. And what really fascinates me about this is that you, in a few days, will become the first humans to travel the farthest in space, more than anybody else has ever done. It took us a long time to get back here, and now we're about to exceed that. Is that a moment of pride? Is it a moment of history? How do we feel about that?
It's great you brought that up. We were aware that we would pass that milestone if we happened to launch on this date. There were other days where we wouldn't have necessarily. So we are not necessarily a crew that lives on superlatives, but it is a milestone that's important. It's important that people can understand and wrap their heads around what is the latest in what we're doing. What does this mean relative to what we've done in the past? What are we going to be pushing for into the future? We think that the journey that we've been on and all of our teams have been on with us is so much more than just one number, but we also hope that that number just keeps being exceeded and exceeded by the future crews. That's why we're here, to build a legacy for the future.
Operational audio comm.
Back to local news now. The Colombo Fashion Week Summer 2026 got underway in Colombo.
Right now I'm here at day 3 of the Colombo Fashion Week 2026, and it is the summer edition happening right here in Colombo. Now, as you already know, this Colombo Fashion Week started on the 1st of April and it will run till the 4th of April, which is tomorrow. Now, over the past few days, there have been a lot of collections from emerging designers to local designers as well as international designers that showcase their collection right here on this runway. And just like that, tonight also there is a special lineup of some of the most established designers here in Sri Lanka, and not to forget those international designers who have put their time and dedication into those beautiful collections, and they will showcase their collections here on this run. International Fashion Federation, in collaboration with Colombo Fashion Week, hosted the first South Asian edition of the BRICS Fashion Summit in Colombo today. The BRICS International Fashion Federation, since its founding, has served as a powerful force in connecting fashion industries across some of the world's fastest growing economies. Talent from the BRICS region. Colombo Fashion Week Summer 2026 offers a global platform for both emerging and established designers to showcase their creativity, craftsmanship and innovation. Yes 101 and Newsfirst are official media partners of Colombo Fashion Week Summer 2026.
And that's a wrap of your news for tonight.
Thank you for joining us. Good night.